What are we doing at UniPrisma, Thijmen?
Good question. So I think that we are co-building actually startups together with the founders into a more scalable and growth-focused opportunities. In a short answer. Next to that, we are also building ecosystems that help basically these startups also to grow together with universities, and we built a platform around that. I would say that that's in a nutshell what we are doing. Do you agree?
I do, yes. Which brings us back to why we all started this, right? Because both you and me, recognize that there is an inefficiency gap
Indeed
in building ventures, and that's actually early stage startups or spin-offs, very limited resources, both in financially, but as well as in competence. They require a lot of additional help to make the miracle happen, yeah? As opposed to just having consultants and advisors tell them what to do. They actually need hands-on executive co-builders, exactly, who can share the risk and also build it up shoulder to shoulder. That's what we are doing, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And also to bring in experts from the market regarding specific topics like legal and finance that we have already a very good experience with.
Yeah. And apart from that, what we got ourselves into is building layers of ecosystems above startups, or I don't know, maybe under them, I don't know, doesn't matter, which connects ecosystem players that are currently fragmented, and hence they are missing out on a huge opportunity, which is actually, as we identified, it's in the university venture capital sector or segment, and all these universities trying to spin off more and more innovative companies, research-based companies. There are different playbooks, but it seems like everybody's trying to do it on his own instead of pulling together, sharing playbooks, blueprints,
Data,
big part of it, data, and then later maybe even deal flow, investments, and so on.
Yeah, but there are two steps in what we are doing next to the ecosystems. But we are helping startups in the beginning phase to make them investment ready, right? Investable.
Yeah,
and we have as well after they have gotten their investment, how to actually utilize those funds. Where do you think that we excel the best in that specific segment?
I would say there are many people out there who are doing a good job in advising startups. Honestly, there are plenty. I think what's missing is the right combination of truly understanding the venture capital, like how venture capital works. You, as a startup, you need to deeply understand the powers that are actually shifting behind the scenes, because those powers have an immense impact on the fundraising and everything. So that's one part. And many startups can be good at this, but then the danger is that you become a fundraising focused startups, which is a huge mistake, because yes, you may get funded, but then you don't focus on your clients. And eventually the whole goal would be to, become a successful startup on the market.
Yeah.
So I think what we excel at is that we bring in the venture capital logic and lingo and connections, and I would say compliance with the venture capital world, but also the market. So we bring in the market intelligence. And how do we do that, or why are we doing that, is because we both have entrepreneurial backgrounds. So we know what it takes to build a company. And we also have the venture capital background. So when combined, we believe it's still not a dreamy, hazy dream, like we're going to fundraise for you, but it's actually building up the company to become successful on the market as well.
Yeah, indeed. So that the founders actually can focus on the product and making it better, and that we are taking care of the next round fundraising, indeed, and co-building the rest around them. Basically.
Yeah. Not to say that they are not involved in the fundraising
Absolutely.
or the market, because for sure they have to be in the focus of the client as well as the investor. But yes, it's a lot of burden, a lot of very time consuming to fundraise. So we take that burden, and also I think just by providing a framework around it, like to be able to explain, that gives confidence and some security for the founders that it's not just improvising from meeting to meeting, but yeah, we know what we are doing, and eventually we build it up step by step.
Yeah, and also finding the right investor as well. That happens. That matters a lot, I think, for specific areas as a medtech or a SaaS, or not just a general VC or investor, but really focused on that specific topic that actually can bring value as well on top of the funds.
So in what ways do you think what's the difference between delivering the right investor, or not delivering, but introducing, maybe engaging with the right investor, as opposed to having just any investor?
Well, if the value is beyond just money, let's say, and increasing of growing the ROI, it's the win-win situation as well. So if the investor has already an ecosystem, or has already a focus point on medtech, or has already several SaaS companies in the portfolio, it would make sense to actually connect the specific medtech founder to the medtech VC, to have a win-win situation and to generate that synergy, and not just in funding, but also in connecting the right markets, and having the right opportunities and go-to-market strategy.
Also, I think assembling the right circle of a group of investors into one deal, that's another skill, because the composition of, like, what type of investors, because there could be several different type of investors in the same round, strengthening each other and the whole story, or even sometimes it can be counterproductive, and it's going to slow down the process. So you need deep expertise, you need network, investors who can do introductions or deliver on laboratory infrastructure, as you just mentioned. Not so. Yeah. Also, maybe we can go back to our origin story, like how we started and why we started. So, of course, if it was a movie from the 70s, the screen would split into two, and we would see Thijmen and Karoly doing his own thing, and then eventually the screen will be unified. So what's your story before we met? How did you end up focusing on the venture studio model?
Yeah, it's indeed a funny story. I have my own headhunting firm, as you know, and one of my clients actually was a company, a startup in your portfolio in OUVC. This is the first time we met, actually. And we are working with several other startups as well. And I realized that startups are not just looking for funds and investment, but also expertise and co-building facilities that help them to focus on the products. Think about talent acquisition, but also think about marketing, legal, etc. And I saw a lot of startups focusing only on fundraising, and they forgot about their own products. And this is actually how I assembled a team, and I thought I would pitch this to several VCs. You were one of those. Due to personal circumstances, relocation, and other aspects, the team fell apart, but we got to know each other a bit more thorough, I would say, building up a relationship and to see where we could see synergies. And as I believe you were actually at the point to spin off the venture studio actually from the OUVC, and this would be a very good synergy actually to start with.
Yeah, and I will explain mine. About 2 years ago, when I started to build up OUVC, which is the first university venture capital firm in the region. We started it with Imre Hild, and we both agreed that this should be more than just a VC. It should be a venture studio and VC. And by that, we meant exactly the same that you just explained.
Mm-hmm.
So we also noticed that early stage startups need a wider team, stronger team, but they cannot afford the stronger team. So there should be some kind of collaboration model or business model that enables them to engage with very experienced people that cannot be paid from their budget. So from their perspective, that is a clear win. From a venture building perspective or an investment point of view, how do you actually invest and ensure that the milestones are met, the KPIs are hit? How do you actually make that happen? And it's the only way is to actually support the startups like every day or every week, like very actively. But can a venture capital firm do that? Usually not. They don't have the capacity. They also don't have the budget, as funny as it sounds.
Yeah.
But they don't. So that's how Venture Studio comes into play, because Venture Studio's model is actually selecting a few startups and then sharing equity, sharing risk, building it together. So yeah, not so much before we met. I've been already working on spinning off the Venture Studio. And then you came and pitched me your idea, which was exactly a venture studio. And I still remember you asking me, so are we going to compete now or what? And of course, we immediately started to explore ways of cooperation. Yeah. And then taking the next step, I think for me, what was important is your character. Like it's very rare to find somebody who is always trying to find a solution, like not delaying it. Like, oh yes, let's talk about it next week. Like you hear it very often. I hate next weeks. Mm-hmm. I like to make things happen today, and I think you are with the same mindset, and I think it's very important because we can have the same business vision. But if our personal approach is different, then there will be a misalignment and asymmetry, and then it doesn't work. And also, both of our, mindset or approach is very much applicable in the early stage startups, which is about speed, very, very quick decision making and speed, and flexibility to iterate.
Yeah, and you also don't mind to make your hands dirty, right? To roll up the sleeves and just go for it, basically. Helping with that pitch deck, helping with that outreach for the next investment round. Yeah, indeed. And how do you? Because I basically pitched the venture studio to you without mentioning the word venture studio,
right?
Even though, if it smells like, if it looks like a venture studio, it probably is. How do you see our expertise is basically working together? Because your expertise is rather in the venture capital, mine is rather into talent acquisition. How do you see us in this sense?
So I think there is one sentence you might have heard a lot of times. Many VCs say that or claim they live by that rule. In early stage investment, investors say we invest in the team. Mm-hmm. I think most of the times it's bullshit, but this is how it should be. And if you think about it, it's talent at the end of the day, and your expertise is in talent. And I would say the most important factor in the success of an early stage startup is the talent and the mindset, the people, like head and shoulders above
Absolutely.
product or ideas, whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's how I think your word and your expertise meets with mine, and they somehow become one, because I think we are dealing with the same material, but we are using different tools to work on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just going back to the university platform and ecosystem, what we see a lot currently is that universities have troubles with the spinning off basically startups and making them more commercial basically. And we also see a lot of misalignment in the researchers that want to become founders. How do you see the future of this in the researchers becoming founders and the universities supporting them with the spin-offs, including with patents and IP that has been built up in the universities?
I think this university venture capital market is extremely fragmented, and by that I mean the entities involved in this sector are not really connected, or loosely connected, or regionally connected somehow, or by chance. That's one thing. The other is because some of them are very successful. There are universities who are doing an outstanding job in spinning off successful startups, commercialize the research, attract venture capital, even attract LPs to invest into their own venture capital firms. So there are many who are doing a great job, and there are even more who are not. And the problem with that is there are many problems with that, but the market remains fragmented. The difference between the good and the mediocre will increase immensely. And that is actually, if you look at it on the European level, that's not good for Europe, not good for deep tech, not good for how competitive Europe can be in this race of research-based innovation. And so I think it's a common interest that we connect the dots. By that, I mean there should be a platform within this sector for university venture capitals where they can exchange data, share best practices, learn from each other, and then the next level will be to actually co-invest or co-build startups. Some of the universities have now venture studios. It's coming, it's a trend. So co-building is possible. And then entrepreneur in residency programs are popping up everywhere. If done right, again, it can provide a huge advantage. So all in all, there is this fragmented market, huge differences, lack of data exchange, lack of working together on the same problem. So I think our mission would be to make that happen. To say it in another way, what we don't want to do, we don't want to change the academic sector like directly. We don't want to change the venture capital world directly. All we want to do is to give them a chance to work a lot more efficiently to make that happen. And I think it cannot come from the inside of this world. It should come from the outside, as in throughout history, many industry segment has experienced something similar, that an entity came from the outside and sparked an innovative idea, and boom, it happened. And then after, when it happened, you almost don't understand how it didn't happen earlier. Like, it's so simple.
Yeah, indeed. And then a provocative question. If we have fixed this, let's say, do you think that there will be more spin-offs, or is it also about European mindset? Like in the US, for instance, there's hyper competition in this sense. Do you think that this would solve all issues, or?
No, nothing will solve all issues, but it will put us by us, I mean Europeans, it will put Europe in a lot better position to become stronger and more successful. Success is measured in many forms, right? Even in this sector. But yes, you mentioned the number of spin-offs. I think it's important. The amount of capital that spin-offs can attract, another KPI.
Yeah.
The amount of exit, the exit value, the amount of research, the conversion rate between patents and research into spin-offs. That's another one. So